The Jeep Compass, an SUV that shook things up in its segment with great prices. You have probably seen a fair few on the street, and for good reason. It is well made, well equipped, and a great driving SUV, which of course is also the reason why it won the 2018 NDTV Car of the Year award. But as with everything, the Compass range needs to evolve too. We're all very well used to the Compass in India by now. It has of course done over 10,000 units in sales, and what Jeep does need to do now is spice things up a little bit. So this is a new variant. It's called the Trailhawk, and the Trailhawk badge has always been used with the most off-road ready versions of all Jeep models. It's a badge that is offered through the whole range. Now most of the changes on the car you can't really see on the outside, but there are some visual changes, so let's take you through all of those first. The big change of course is this little black vinyl badge on the bonnet, very cool, very sporty, and the whole black theme continues through the whole car, and in fact a black and red theme continues through the whole car. So you get the blacked out grille as compared to the chrome bits that you get on the normal standard car. So all of this has been blacked out, and telltale Trailhawk signs, these lovely tow hooks in the front. Now they aren't plastic, they are metal, they are very, very rugged, and they can get you out of a sticky situation if you ever manage to get yourself into one. Other changes, the blacked out badges, and a sort of whole blacked out theme that continues through the car, including the trim on the side and the badges at the rear. The same theme continues on the interior. The Compass finally gets an all-black interior with red accent stitching and of course Trailhawk badges. The red theme continues with the red accents on the instrument cluster, gear shifter and on the door panels. The Compass Trailhawk, as we mentioned, is the off-road ready version in the lineup. So it was only natural to find ourselves a trail here in rural Tasmania and see if we could go spot some Tasmanian devils. To make it easier off-road, the Trailhawk gets new underbody skid plates that protect the engine, gearbox and the differential. It also gets off-road spec suspension with heavy-duty shock absorbers, and the ground clearance has been increased by 20 mm. You also get all-terrain tires with a more aggressive tread pattern and a unique two-tone set of Trailhawk 17-inch wheels. Now apart from all those things that we talked about, like the skid plates, you also get a lot of other additions to this particular Trailhawk. For example, this car has the diesel automatic. In India we still get just the diesel manual. This one, a 9-speed automatic made by ZF, and it is a traditional torque converter. So while it might not be as quick as dual clutch is, it certainly takes all those off-road driving conditions really, really well, especially the very slow rock crawl stuff that we are doing right now. The other big addition in the Trailhawk is the fact that you get a 4-wheel drive low mode. Now, the Indian car gets only the 4-wheel drive lock mode. 4-wheel drive low is what you really need when you're going to do the more hairy-chested, the more hardcore stuff. And we've been using it all day today because this isn't simple stuff. This trail might look easy, but it is quite challenging, quite tough, especially when you're traveling over all those rocks. And especially for all those rocks, the Jeep Compass Trailhawk now gets a rock mode. And that is in addition to the sand, snow and mud modes that you get on the standard car. And it gets hill descent control as standard too, making it quite the potent off-road weapon. While the Jeep Compass Trailhawk does serve its purpose off-road, most people in India especially are going to use it on-road a lot more. So let's turn off that 4-wheel drive, put back into auto and see how it actually performs on tarmac. Now straight off the bat, the automatic gearbox just makes a world of difference in the Compass, especially considering the fact this is a large-ish SUV, especially in the Indian context, and an automatic gearbox just makes everything so much easier. It is a 9-speed gearbox, as I did mention earlier, a ZF unit. It is not a dual clutch transmission as the petrol version gets. It's going to be a traditional torque converter. And yes, it isn't as quick as we'd expect a modern gearbox to be, but well, it is smooth. It does its job really well. And most importantly, it will bring in a chunk of new customers to the Compass, all of which have been desperately waiting for that diesel engine and automatic gearbox combination. While the Australian spec car we drove here is slightly different in terms of the way it is tuned, both in terms of steering response and suspension geometry, the final spec on the Indian car hasn't been locked in just yet. So we will have to wait and watch and see how Jeep India sets up the Trailhawk for Indian driving conditions. The Trailhawk will make it to India this year and will of course be the top of the line model in the Compass range, sitting above the limited variant. Expect prices for the Trailhawk to be around the 23 lakh range ex-showroom and be quite popular, especially with the urban crowd.